of December here. So I'm here to do an update of what I've been up to since I last spoke to you, which isn't really very much. But so I thought what I'd also do is I'd have a look at, because it's the end of the year, the remaining whips that I've got that I'll be carrying over into next year. And yeah, a couple of new things to show as well. So I have an FFO, but I can't show it to you because it's already been gifted. And I have another finished object, and I have a new start. So the first thing that I finished this recently, it was last month actually, I had to kind of get it done, was a present from my dad. I've got a picture of it somewhere. Oh, here it is. So those of you who've been watching for a while remember that I did the Celtic whale Santa, and what I've also done now, sorry about the glare, is the Ireland Santa, and that was for my dad. So I gave those to my mum and dad as part of their Christmas presents, and they really liked them as well. In fact, I really liked them. I had a conversation with my mum just yesterday where I said I'm quite tempted to take them back and keep them, but I was told no. So they've been hung up in my parents' house for this Christmas. I realised there's going to be glare on this. I'm doing the videoing this way round, so you get to see me today, which I don't often do, but the lighting is really, really awful, and this was the best lighting I could get with me sitting kind of in front of the window. I've got the Christmas tree lights on to help. I've also got the overhead light on, which is, it's not very bright, it's quite a dull light, but it's, what time is it? It's 3:30 in the afternoon here in the UK, and it's just been a really awful day. It's been foggy all day and hasn't cleared, so I apologise if the lighting's not great, but we're just going to go with it. So that's my FFO that I finished last month. And I know quite a few people have done these in the States and talked about how they finished them. So I thought I'd just say what I use here for anyone in the UK. I've been using this high-tack glue, very sticky, all-purpose, but it dries clear and flexible. So I've not had any problem using this, and I'm quite generous. I daub quite a lot of it on the back to make sure that it's sticked. But that, for me, also holds, I put a ribbon in the top, and that's kept the ribbon in place as well. So that's what I use. And I just back mine with a green wool felt. So you can see I've taken 2 Santas out of this piece. And that's ready for my third one, because my new start this month, I chose a Santa for myself, and I went with one of the celebration Santas. This is Feliz Navidad Santa, which is this one. Don't know about a glare. And I took this one home with me to work on. So I've just got back from my parents. I've been there for the week. So I've actually finished the cross stitching on this one, as you can see. So I've just got a whole load of beads in the packet left to put on him. But there's a lot of work in him. Let's get that back up. As you can see, there's a lot of confetti in him. Lots of chopping and changing of thread and what have you in that one. So it took a lot of work. So I'm not ashamed to show. I'll show you my back. There's a lot of carrying of threads, because it got to the point where I was just doing it all very neatly, and then I thought, oh, that's all going to be smushed under felt. So I started carrying the threads a little bit. So that's that. So that's my fully finished object and my new start. And there was a reason for me starting on that, because I wasn't going to stitch on these, but I've been having problems, and I posted on a couple of the sites with my neck, and went to see the osteopath because I was unable to get my head further than kind of this. I couldn't get my head tilted over. It was all tension all up here, and unfortunately I was getting a lot of migraines and just like headaches and pain, real pain in my shoulder most days. I'd wake up in the morning with pain as well. So I went to see an osteopath, and one of the things that I realised I do is when I stitch, I have a habit of just tilting my head to one side. So I'm tilted and I'm looking down, and I think it's just put a lot of pressure on this side. So I am left-handed as well. So she said to me, don't stitch. So she did a lot of manipulation on me, a lot of work, and I said it's so much better. But she told me I was under strict instructions not to undo all the good work that she'd done. So I didn't stitch. So for I saw her at the beginning of December, and she said not to stitch for at least a week, and if I could do a bit longer, that would be better. So I actually didn't stitch for 3 weeks in December, which was really weird, and was very focused on trying to keep my head up straight. So when I went back to stitching, I thought, well, what I'll do is if I wanted to get the Mill Hill kit done for my dad, and actually it was because it's so small, it was easier to stay in the right position. So I thought, well, to encourage carrying on with good habits, I'll do another small one. So that's the only stitching I've done. I think why I'm laughing though is because I did that with the small stitching, but because I then did it holding it in my hand, it's really caused a lot of pain with my arthritis in my right thumb. So you can't win. I'm guessing I have to suffer for my cross stitch, but you know, it's worth it. But I'm going to go back and try stitching on some larger pieces, and fingers crossed I'll be okay. But I've changed my setup a little bit and going to try and prop myself up. And I might go back to using my seat hoop. I've got a little hoop that you kind of sit on and stitch at, so it's in front of me rather than, and then I might use my Lowry stand that I've got to hold the pattern in front of me to kind of encourage me to look forward. It's a bit of a challenge really. I'm kind of thinking whether I need to look at some slightly different frames to help me out, or I don't know. If anyone else has had similar problems, I'd be interested to hear what you do. I mean, the osteopath even suggested that I get a soft collar to wear when I'm stitching, which seems a bit extreme. But then I was talking to somebody today and she suggested, you know, one of those shaped travel pillows might work just for when I'm sitting in the evening to keep me from kind of tilting. I don't know. What do you think? Does anyone do that? I know quite a few people commented from the States when I posted it on Stitch Mania, and they were suggesting a certain type of cushion, but I couldn't see that I could get that cushion in the UK, so I don't know. I haven't solved that problem yet, but any suggestions would be welcome. And if I try the neck pillow, I'll let you out. Sorry, I've got a cup of tea. It's cold here. I'm being a bit cheap because I haven't put the heating on yet, but it's a bit chilly, so I'm warming up with a cup of tea. Okay, you're balanced on a box of Maltesers as well at the moment. That's to stop me from eating them. Leftover from Christmas. Lots of leftovers at the moment. So my FFO, have I got a picture? If I've got a picture of this. I'm sure you've seen it many times if you've watched my channel, is the deck chairs. So I have finally finished all of the work on this one. And I'm really pleased with how it's come out. It's a bit crinkled, so it still needs to go and have its wash and have a press. But I've got a few of these ones. There are 4 in total, and I'd like to get them all done eventually. So I'm going to hold off because I think I would like them framed so I can display them in a set of 4. And if I frame them, I might just wait so I can make sure that I get all the frames to look the same. So yeah, so I had to finish. I finished that sometime in November, can't remember. I then also, ongoing, I did a very, very small bit of work on my one of my other bothy kits, and this is cut through haberdashers. There. So this has been going years and years and years and years and years. I thought this might be the year that I get it done, but as there's only 2 days left of the year, it's not going to be this year, but that's okay. So I've just been working slowly through and getting back stitch done. So I'm just working, yeah, so I just did the black around this side, the last thing I did, but I've put some back stitch around my lady, so she's now got glasses. Yeah, so this is as charted, except for you can see that the lady entering the shop with the purchase. So I'm trying to not put things in front of my mouth so that you can see. I changed her from a blonde to a brunette because, well, I was a brunette, a bit more grey than I used to be, but yeah, I'm a brunette, so I changed her. So very small amount of work on that, so I will be carrying that one into the new year. The other one that I had hopes of finishing this year was my Santa's Village. I've done a little bit more work on this one. If I can fold it. So I'm currently on house number 11. So when I stopped stitching, she told me to stop stitching, so I kind of stopped stitching. So I was working on the brickwork of the house there. So I had also gone back and added berries to this one above because I'd missed the berries out, and I've started unpicking this bit here because I used the wrong green. So I was given last year a kit for a knit your own scarf. I'm not really a knitter. I can knit. I know how to knit, do a knit stitch, and I know how to do a purl stitch, which fortunately this was what this was, to make a cowl. So I knitted up a cowl just before Christmas. Didn't take long, it's only one ball of wool, but you can see I started running out of wool. So my tension at this end is that kind of slouchy look that you want in a cowl, and at the other end it's a little bit tighter because I was getting really short of wool, so I had to be a bit tighter with it. But I thought that turned out quite nicely. So, and I think I'm going to need it because it's really cold. It's been really mild and it's been beautiful sunny days. Went out for the day yesterday and it was really beautiful, blue skies, gorgeous. But the temperatures really dropped with it. So it was -1 when I was in my car this morning. Oh, I do actually have another new start. Well, it's a new start, and I don't think I've ever shown it because it's actually a restart of a restart of a restart. So I can't remember when I first started it. I think it might have been January 2014, so the year before. No, 2015. So yeah, 2 years ago. Get confused because it's the end of the year. And I'd never heard of Heaven and Earth Designs when I before I kind of found Flosstube and all of you fine people out there, and I decided I would like to give it a go. And so I had chosen 2 years ago, or it was over 2 years ago that I chose the pattern, this design here. So this is called Owl Autumn Colours, so I'm reading it backwards on the screen, and hopefully you can see the designer. I can't read that backwards from here. So I'd chosen this design and I'd made a little start on it, and I'd watched Amanda's videos, Miss Milky Bar Kids video about HAED stitching, and so I did a little bit of trial stitching and I thought I found the fabric that I wanted to use, and it was just I think it was just a 25 count even weave, and I started stitching it and I didn't like it. I was doing 10 stitches and I didn't like the coverage. So then I thought, I want to do, I've always done full, mainly always full. I want to do full cross stitches. So then I bought some easy count guide and I started stitching the first page. Now I didn't get a huge amount of stitches in, but as I was stitching it I wasn't convinced that the fabric was big enough, and I sat and I counted it all out, and when I counted it all out I would have had a very, very small right hand side margin, so I scrapped it. And it's taken me this long to get back to starting again, because having started it a few times and gone through all of that, I was like, oh, I can't be bothered anymore. There's so many other stuff that I want to stitch that, you know, enough is enough. But I am going to the HAED retreat, which somebody has posted today is only 5 weeks away, in Crewe. Which I'm very excited about. I can't believe it's only 5 weeks away. It's really nice to have something this time of year to look forward to, because sometimes you get kind of Christmas, New Year and it's a bit like, oh. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Being the kick that I needed to restart this, so I've ordered more fabric. So I think it came from So and So in the UK. I ordered a really big bit of fabric and I've made a restart. But as per usual, calm down. It's very, very small, the amount of work I've done when you look at how much needs to be done. But I have made a start. So this is my page 1 start of Autumn Owls. And the reason I stopped, I was going really well on this and I'm stitching it, I'm kind of picking colours and stitching through it. But the reason I stopped was because I was following the colours, so I started doing this bit down here and I counted 10 squares down. And it was only when I was working out that I realised the page wasn't actually 10 squares, the page was, didn't go to 100, it went to 80. So yeah, so this bit down here needs to be taken out. So yeah, ignore that bit. It's done, but it will be gone. So that kind of came to a halt on that one. But actually I was really enjoying it and I absolutely love the colours in this one. I'm really... It's quite good that I've almost waited 2 years to do this, because it just goes to show that actually I still love the pattern. It still really speaks to me. I love the colours in this one, and I've got the... When I kitted it up, because DMC is just expensive in this country, and I do shop online, but I do also like to support my local shop. It's actually a wool and quilt shop, but they do have DMC in there. So I do like to buy some stuff local, but what I did is I just bought the floss for the first page, because I thought as well that's not such a big investment, although I say that now because I'm on my third piece of material for it, so actually it's probably going to turn out to be quite expensive, but you know what I mean. So that's what I've done some work on. And really exciting on this is, having said I'd start a HAED, I was then racked, my first rack. And I was racked. It's by the same designer, this one, this beauty. This is Peacock in Full Bloom, and it's just gorgeous. And I kind of really want to start it, but I'm really being strong not to start this, because it would be ridiculous, because I'm not, having not stitched any HAEDs, I think I at least need to get one page finished on one before I start another. But I love the colours in this. And if you don't watch Orietta, is it Orietta's Stitches? I can't remember what your floss tube channel was called, but Orietta has stitched this, and I think actually she uses a picture of this as her, maybe it's on Facebook or maybe it's on her channel. I've seen the little picture and I've loved it. I've always loved it. So, and I didn't actually know it's by the same designer as the Autumn Owls until it was racked to me. And you know who you are. I can't say, because I don't know if she said that I can say who she is. But until I got it and then printed it off, I didn't realise it was the same person. So there you go. So that's another thing I've been working on. I've got loads of this left over because I chopped it down to size. So not that will fit anything significant on, but who knows. So other things that I've got outstanding. So it was Adele, I think, probably about halfway through the year, asked us to count our whips. I can't remember how many I had, but when I did that I started making a really concerted effort to get some of my whips finished. So I have had quite a few finishes this year, and I had no new starts other than things that I've stitched as gifts, bar that one Mill Hill, which I've just started for myself, and my restart. I didn't count the restart because it was a restart. Yeah, my Mill Hill, which obviously I kind of restarted this for a reason, as in I needed to rest my neck. So otherwise it was just the other two Mill Hill kits that I did for Christmas. I did a Mill Hill kit for my mum, the little duck. I think that was this year. I really can't remember if that was this year or last year, but that might have been this year. And then the gift exchange I did for the last retreat that I went on to in Milton Keynes. They're the only other kind of new starts, and all finishes as well. They've all been finished, or will be. This one I'm hoping to get. Just thinking, actually, in this light, I probably won't do beading in this light. I might try and do it tomorrow, but again, if the weather is the same, it might have to wait until it clears up a little bit. I think Sunday, New Year's Day, is supposed to be pretty hideous, so I'm thinking on Sunday might be a day to just sit in and stitch all day, which, yay, I'm not complaining. I'm looking forward to that, actually. So I haven't had a cup of tea since about 7:30 this morning. So remaining whips then. So as part of Stitch Mania year before last, so 2015, I also started this bothy kit. So this is a sister, I don't know, relation, part of the same kit. It's by the same designer, losing my words, as the deck chairs. This one is called Beach Huts. So I've made a very small start on this for Stitch Mania. and I don't think I stitched anything other than I stitched then. So there's really very little on here to show. So that's it. So that will be carried on to the new year. So I've got in my kind of active pile now 3 bothy kits in total, because I finished one. And I made what I've decided is I'm only going to work on one, keep one as an active whip. So this one I'm going to put down, because the other bothy kit I've got, I think I found the right pouch for them, is my Kings and Queens bothy kit. So I've not done any more on this since I last showed it to you. I think I last worked on it, I might have worked on it since Stitch Mania, but I don't think I did much. So at the moment I've got that done. So this will now be, well no, actually that's not true. My active bothy kit is going to be haberdashers. Then when that one's finished, I shall bring this one back out, and that'll be my active whip, because I find it easier if I just focus on a few things at a time. And I've always said I'm a process stitcher, but actually there's been something very satisfying about getting some of these whips done that I've been working on for a long time. So I don't know if there's a kind of an in-between, a process and a finisher? Is that what you're called if you're, I don't know, whatever the terminology is. I'm somewhere in the middle, which is about right. I'm a kind of middle lane kind of person. That way later. Other active whips. Now this one I'm hoping to do some work on in the new year. And this was a stitch along from 2015. Rubbish at stitch alongs. Rubbish. Never have yet to keep up. So I'm quite intrigued by the frosted pumpkin. Is it frosted pumpkin or cloud? I don't know the which one is which, but is it Inspiring Women? I quite like the sound of that one. I'm so bad at keeping up with things. And I'm not so sure about the mystery. I'd like to see it, because how do you know if you like it if you don't see it? So yeah, this one is the By the Bay Needle Arts one. Yeah, so that is part 1, part 2, some of part 3, because then I ran out of the colour that you need to finish that kind of grey bit that you can see, and you can see it a bit clearer here. These are actually birds, and I think that might be a beak that you can just see there that's not attached to anything, not attached to a bird. I didn't have the colour for, but I do now have the colour for. So I think that the tree is the bottom of month 3, March, basically. And one of the reasons I didn't work on this is because it didn't fit on my Millennium frame. It was just that bit too big. Look what I've got. My other Millennium frames have finally arrived, and this, I've not even looked at this, because this came just before Christmas. And I was so busy, like everybody, you know how you're busy before Christmas, I hadn't even looked at it. But yes, I ordered, I was going to say 30, I think are they 30 or 27? I can't remember now. I think they're 27 stretchers, look at that. Perfect. So this will go, will I put this on here? I don't think it will fit my HAED. Nothing like trying it out while you're watching. These are just things I've wanted to do. Oh, look at that. Oh, no, I don't know. Because it fits the HAED. Ooh. Well, they might have to fight over who gets onto there. But that's exciting, isn't it? So I hope I'll be able to do a bit more work on those. Although I had thought with this one, I might try this on my sitting hoop thing. It's all the way over there, so I'm not going to grab it because it's actually buried by, because I've got the Christmas tree here. Stuff that normally is here in the bay window is all shoved over that side of the room, so, you know, I'm not going to dig it out. But if you want to see it, I'll show you in, I just leave a thing and I can show you in the next, you know what I mean. Insert the words here, what I'm trying to say. So I've got all my floss in there now, ready. It lives in a little tin. I don't have a picture of the finished thing, and I can't show you. What I've got in here is just the PDF. So you downloaded the PDFs, and on each of the PDFs it just shows you the bit for that month. But I'm sure who else do I know who's doing it? Somebody else is doing it, and somebody else is just as far behind as I am, but I can't think who you are at the moment. In fact, I don't think you've done an update recently, so that might be, or I've just not seen it. I do worry that I miss people, that they might drop off from my watch list, because apparently people do. On the quilting stuff. What's in here? I will show you. I wasn't going to show you then, I was going to cheat, but be honest. I've got this stitching shed pattern here. I think all the stitching's done on it. It's got oh, there is it. I've lost it then. I've just got to sew all these bits and pieces on it, and there's a bit of back stitching to do as well. I mean, really, I should get that done, shouldn't I? I should. Should. I might have done a bit of work on this poor little lady. Did a bit of unpicking. I thought that's not stitching. Frogging. My sunflower fairy. So she was doing really good progress. I'd gone great guns on her and thought I'd get her finished as my first. So is it a Nora or a Mira? I think it's a Nora, it doesn't say on that bit of paper that I've got. This was an instant download on Hirschner's, so can you see that? I don't know if that focused, but that's where I got it from. There she is. And she's stitched with the Valdani floss, and this is, I can't remember what it's called, the fabric, but it's a Jodrey Designs fabric. But I did her skin 1/1 in the recommended colour, and I hated it. It didn't work, and I don't know if it's because of the colour against the fabric, or if it just was a bad. It didn't look flesh. I don't know if you can see in this light. It's very pale. She looked like is it Pierrot, the clown that used to have the white face? That's what she looked like. And then so I did the outline of her legs, and then it looked like she had like American tan tights on, but then really pale in the middle. It was a really odd look, not at all fashionable. What you'd expect of a beautiful young lady. So it's 1/1. So you need quite good light to do it, but I have slowly been frogging her, and there's still quite a bit of frogging to do on her. So this is something that I just pick up and I just take a few stitches out at a time and then put it down, because I really don't want to damage the material. So she carries on into the new year. Oh, I'm a bit sad about her really, but and also because she's on the go, I won't start any other of my fairies, and I have such a massive pile of fairies and mirrors and things, but I've got her on the go, and I also have, I don't know which way round this goes. Got it the right way round. This. So that's my Elizabeth. So Elizabeth I started January 2015, when everyone else started their mirrors. I think almost everybody else has finished their mirrors. This is how far I've got, so quite a long way to go. I think I have done a little bit of work on here. I think I might have finished something over here from when I last showed her to you. So she's had some work. I've got a picture of her somewhere, but I've basically got my, I have this, and it sits with all of my whips in it. sat next to me, so I'm just sitting and going through it all. I've got a whole load of... there's my deck chairs. For those of you who hadn't seen it before, but if you've watched any of my videos this year, I think it's featured fairly consistently throughout. I'm going to show you one of the downloads I bought. I bought this one by Satsuma Street called Sweet Spring. So I saw Jennifer Hasler stitch this and I fell in love with it, and I've wanted it ever since. And was it Thanksgiving or Halloween time, Satsuma Street had an offer on, so I bought a few. Love her patterns, so I bought that one. Pretty Little London. This one I've loved for ages. Forest. I just love the colours. It's completely my colour palette. And this one made me smile, but also I thought this would be a good one for using a lot of the variegated threads I have in my stash. Kiss, love, laugh, craft. So I thought I probably won't follow the colour scheme with that. I might just pull from all the threads I've got. Is that all of them? I thought there was another one. I mean, that's enough, but oh yeah, that's enough, she says. There is another one. Autumn Bird. And this is one that Danielle, is it Danielle stitched this? This Stitcherista? I can't say that, Stitcherista. Danielle has done. Beautiful, really like those. I am doing Stitch from Stash 2017, so I've got so much stuff. In fact, I have pulled the stuff that I want to stitch from Stash for next year. I have that next to me, so seeing how we go with time, I might quickly show that. I've still got this house. I don't know. I might take this with me to the next retreat that I go on and see if somebody there can help me with this, because I can't. I think I've done what I can on it, and I just can't follow the rest of the instructions. I don't know what that one was. This one, this is Lizzie Kate. This is the six snowman or six fat snowman, or am I putting the fat in there? I'm gonna have to look it up now. Might be just being really rude about these snowmen. Six fat men. No, I'm not. Six fat men. Ooh, glare. That's one of them. And I'm stitching them all six together, like this one. And I have done 4 and started on the border for the 5th. There you go. So like I said with the bothy threads, this is a Lizzie Kate. While I've got this Lizzie Kate on the go, I won't start any other Lizzie Kate. While I've got that Nora and Mira on the go, I'm not starting any other Mira or Nora. Being very strict on myself. Because what I'd like to do, and I think sometimes when I get stuck is when I have lots of things that I stitch the same. So having 4 bothy kits on the go is not a good idea for me. Well, I don't want to have 2 HAEDs on the go, apart from the fact having 2 HAEDs on the go and all of this I think would be rather excessive, seeing as I do actually work full time and, you know, have to sleep at some point. Maybe I'm just being fussy, I don't know. But I'm trying to be strict. I don't know. There is, but then there's also part of me, because I was really strong last year in terms of ignoring all of these. I think it worked for and against me, so I was very much, I'm not going to start anything new, I'm going to try get some progress on stuff I've got, blah blah. I think that pushed me to buy more, because I wasn't starting it, I just bought it instead. So I don't know how well that worked out for me in total. So this year's challenge is going to be also stitch what I've got, but also budget. So I'm lucky in that I, you know, if I need something, I can buy it without thinking too much about it. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to be like that. I want to be a little bit more conscious of what I'm buying, and I've got so much stuff that I love that I haven't stitched, that actually let's focus on what I've got and not what I haven't got. So you need to stop enabling me. It's not your fault. It's obviously me. You know, I see it and I want it. I need to learn to say no to it. So I've got this one. So this is, I think it's called Baubles and Bows, and this is from Cross Stitcher. And this is issue 285, November 2014. And I think I started it pretty much when it came out. I'll find a picture. And that's what it will look like, and that's what I'm think. That's how I'm thinking I will finish it as well, because I like the whole look of this. So I've done a lot. Just over 3/4, I suppose I've done. But there's quite a lot of back stitching in that bow actually, so that's not complete. Again, that's one I thought I would get finished this Christmas. I shouldn't set goals because I don't meet them. So, this one I've had going for a long time. This one I fell in love with this as soon as I saw it as a kit. I think it's also been published in one of the magazines. I think I've got it in a magazine. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. This is what's it called? Red Flower Series, set of 3. So it's an anchor kit. And I bought it because I really love poppies, but I also really love the colours in this. So I've stitched but not done back stitching on this one. So this is the one that I finished this year. This was, I think I'd got about 1/3 of it done, maybe just over 1/3. I'd already finished, well, the stitching, not back stitching, this one. So I've just got one more to complete the series, which is this one here. So I have a little bit of Ada on which to do it. So I'm keeping this in my active whips pile because although 2 are finished, it's not finished. So that carries on to 2017. This is a Stitch Mania start. 2015. This is called Up the Garden Path, and it is based on a painting by Michael Cooper. Champagne Collections, that's the people. And this one, I find this one difficult to work on when I'm working on the bothy threads because it's very similar. It's Ada stitching, not full coverage, but you know, fair coverage. Can you see that with the lights behind? Let's try that. So yeah, I haven't stitched on this for a couple of months, but you know, it's carrying over. I haven't got any plans to stitch on it at the moment for the flowers one, but they'll stay around. I think I might stop this one. This one I haven't got a picture of it, but it was one of the first ones I bought on Etsy, and it's I think it's like Funky Flowers or something. So you can see I've stitched, there's one more flower to stitch here, and then the stems, and then all of the rest of it has to be filled in with this green. But there's loads of half stitches and quarter stitches, and so stitched on, I think this is might be a 16 count Ada or 18 count, it doesn't look like a 14. So splitting the cloth is challenging, and I wasn't that an experienced stitcher. Well, no, I was an experienced stitcher, but I certainly I hadn't done as much as I had done now when I started this, but I don't know, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it when I finished it, so I'm not entirely sure. So it kind of just sits around in the bucket. Maybe one day it will get finished, but I haven't worked on it for years, so I don't know when that's going to happen. Ooh, forgotten about this one. And somebody gave me a really good suggestion about how to take this one forward, so thank you. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head, but this is my Michael Powell cross stitch art. What's this one called? Mini Christmas Window 1. And I'd got to the point where I was back stitching, and I started back stitching. So I started down here, and I got quite a bit done at the bottom, and then I realised you're supposed to back stitch in 2 strands to get the look rather than 1. But when I started back stitching in 2 strands up here, I found it really challenging to keep the threads together and not get them split. So it doesn't actually look too bad now that I look at it, but I got really frustrated because I couldn't. It took a lot of work, because the style of it is that you do long back stitch stitching. So rather than kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but one on HAED you go 1 to 1 to 1 normally with back stitching, but this one you go over several squares. But somebody very wisely suggested that rather than stitch with the DMC cotton, I try the pearl cotton. So I'm just using 1 strand of this. So I've got it ready to go, I just haven't tried it yet. So thank you to whoever suggested that. I'll let you know how I get on. So this really is just back stitching, but this one is I'm not going to do until I've done the back stitching on the bothy kit. So when that haberdashers is done, I might feel inclined to pick this one up again. Yeah, I thought I might early this year get it done for Christmas. Not going to happen. Christmas, what year? What else have I got? I've got so much stuff around me on the floor now. Really, really old whips. Oh, actually, there's one I haven't pulled out, thinking about it. I started this one. That hasn't had a look in for ages, but I will finish it because actually when I'm stitching it I do enjoy it, but so many other things. I started, it's really not worth showing you this, excuse me, this was Golden Girls Frosted Pumpkin, was it? No, Clouds Factory I think it is, isn't it? But the pattern was all blurred, so I couldn't actually see to stitch it. And when I went online, because somebody suggested that you can ask, it will show you the reference of your pattern when you've bought it, but I couldn't find it, and I'm not that motivated to find it. This one is from a, I'm looking over here because I've got my bookshelf here, it's from a book. I can't see it easy enough to grab it. It's a Halloween pattern, and I got that far with it. This was my first time stitching with, this is Krennic, the glow in the dark Krennic, and it says it's a blending filament, and I was a bit naive when I was using it, so just stitched in this rather than actually blended it with another colour. But when I've gone back to look at the instructions, it doesn't say to blend it with, like there's not a DMC number with the symbol, it just says the symbol and then the blending filament. So I'm not quite sure what to do about my haunted house. So that's, I don't like describing things as a UFO, because someday they may be finished, just not today. So yeah, that's still hanging around. This is a very early, you can tell, look at it, it's a bit crumbly. One of the earliest patterns I picked up, which is of Somerset, where I've just spent last week for Christmas. Where did I go yesterday? So yesterday I visited Wells here, which is not far away from Shepton Mallet, which is where they make the Millennium frames. So I was 4 miles from their home, and if I hadn't got my frames I might have popped round and said, can I pick them up? I was still really tempted to go and see if they, but I know that it does say on their website by appointment only, so I thought, well, I won't drop by. I was very tempted. Hello. And then I think there's one more that I know of. There might be something else. Maybe I didn't pull it out. Ah, it's right in front of me. really, really old pattern. This one. This is a Disney one. I think it's from the 80s, maybe early 90s. And this is Cinderella, my favourite. This one and Sleeping Beauty, my favourite fairy tales. Again, it's really quite old and it's a little bit grubby. I don't know if you can see in this lighting, so I was a bit like, what I do with it. But there's still a bit of me that would like to finish it one day. So I'm not saying never. No, not on that one. So it will stay as a whip. Just checking, I've got some tins here and I don't know what are in these tins. So let's have a look. Very interesting. Bobbins for the sewing machine. You might be interested in those. I think this one is the chalk. Yeah, I have got a year in chalk. See, stitch alongs, rubbish at them. Santa's Village was a stitch along how many years ago? The Cottage of the Months that I only finished them this year. If it wasn't this year, I only finished them last year. They've been out for ages. Year in chalk, not done. By the Bay Needle Art, not done. Don't do stitch alongs, Claire. So I've got all of these in here. And I did start one of these. I think I started it for Stitch Mania. There we go. Let's put something behind it. That's as far as I got for all 12. That's it. Which is a shame, because I did the auto ship, so I have all the threads. Beautiful threads. All of the charts. That's the one I'm stitching, which is May. So yeah, that was Stitch Mania. Oh, all this fabric. It's horrible fabric. I really dislike this fabric. But I have now bought some starch, which is what Sherry Paquette recommended. So I might spray the crap out of it. Sorry, pardon the French. And see if that makes it tolerable. Because having spent the money and having all the fabric, I'm very reluctant to just get rid of it or to try something else. So we shall see. I think that is everything. I think that is everything that I have. It's everything I've got in my basket. I think there is a Winnie the Pooh pattern that's actually living in my finished box, which lives on top of my shelves, that just has a bit of back stitching not done. And I don't think any of the characters have faces. But I didn't realise that until I showed it. I took it to the last retreat and pulled it out and it's like, oh, actually that's not finished. Don't know what it's doing in there. It's in the wrong place. But 1 year. What's that? That's fine. That's not another one. That's just a bit of a kit. So I had, in doing this stitch from stash, how are we doing for time? It's going to be a long one. Sorry guys. I had pulled out some of the top patterns that I wanted to work on. Going to be a bit of glare, so I'm sorry about that. I pulled out this one. Can you see that? Is it any better that way? This is Sirens of the Sea by Just Nan, and it's beautiful. It is just stitched with silk. I have bought a couple of the silks, so I looked at it and I looked at the blues on this. And I'm sorry if it's not showing up, but the blues are beautiful. And I thought, I'm going to suck it up and I'm going to buy a couple of the blues, because I think that just is part of the reason why I like this pattern. And they're really beautiful. So I think part of my budget for Stitch for Stash next year will be buying the other silks to go in this, so that when I stitch it, I actually really enjoy stitching it. So spending my money wisely and something that gives me a lot of pleasure. That's what I'm going for next Stitch for Stash. I've also got Nora Corbett, the Needle Fairy. I have quite a few of them in this series. There's the Linen Fairy, I can't name them. Yeah, I've got a few. But this is the first one I've pulled to stitch. I think there's quite a few materials needed. I think I've bought or I've got a lot of them already in my stash. I don't think I've got all the Krennics. I might have bought there's 2 Mill Hill beads, I might have bought those. But I won't start that until I finish Sunflower Fairy. Got loads of Prairie Schoolers, and I love the Santas. And I really like these little ones, so I'd like to stitch these. I don't know when I'm going to start them. I have a feeling because I've got a couple of Christmas things on the go, I probably won't start them while I've got those on the go. But what I've discovered with the Mill Hills is also I like working on some smalls as well, and I don't have enough small projects. So I might look to change it up a little bit, so make sure I've got one Bothy, one Mira, maybe one Nora as well, one HAED, but then something from a magazine, but then also, and that might be something that's a small, so can get it finished quite quick, so get that finishing feeling as well, bit of accomplishment. Country Cottage Needleworks, this little pattern here called Stitching Time. I won't start this while I've got Santa's Village on the go, because I'm not doing more than one designer. Also got this Country Cottage Needlework, which I love. It's called Bumblebees, Ladybugs and Bumblebees. Won't start that until I finish some of the others. Barbara Anna. Ooh. Sorry, I just got a low battery warning, so I'm going to have to speed up. Don't know when I'm going to start this. I've only got one of the 5, but as soon as I saw it in one of the magazines and I love it. Another Just Nan. I've not stitched a Just Nan before, I don't think. Somebody will remind me if I have, but I don't think I have. Flight School. Sorry, I'm not taking it out. The wrapping make too much noise and I'm lazy. I loved this as soon as I saw it. And I was looking for something, the Potting Shed sampler that I did. The original thread that I bought didn't work on that. It was too thick, the silk. But when I saw this pattern, I thought it might work for this. I'm sorry if you don't remember that thread, but I love this pattern. This is the Cricket collection. So me. Why is it when I'm halfway through, creative joys diminish? It's more fun to start a piece than it ever is to finish. I'm sure there are lots of people out there that can agree with that sentiment, and I love this. So I really like the colours they've done it in though, so I might have to have a play with that one. I might start that fairly soon because I don't have anything on the go by the Cricket collection, but it's either that one or this one. So this is Forever in My Heart design by Linda Orme, is that correct? My stash is bigger than your stash. And again, when I saw this, I thought, oh, this would be perfect. It's an easy stitch, shouldn't take too long, but this would be great for using, just pulling from my collection of variegated threads and just going with it, see what I come up with. Jardin Privé, I love the Jardin Privé I did earlier in the year. And I really like this little one. Scissors and bobbins. I don't know when I'll start it. I think Katie's just started this. Foxwood Crossings. Stitch a Lot. So these ones are a little bit different. You know, the word ones, the Prairie Schooler, from some of the ones I've got on the go. And that's what I'm looking to do in the new year, mix it up a bit. I've got this one, which is a Jeanette Douglas. I've not stitched anything by her. Take time to read. Sorry, the lighting really is getting really bad in here now, so I'll have to stop stewing anyway. Was that all the ones? I've got a few things here, but I wasn't planning on stitching these just yet. I think that was just, there's one more that I was going to show. 3 more. A Glendon Place. Never stitched a Glendon Place. I bought this a couple of years ago. Absolutely loved it. Still never stitched it. Autumnal colours. Beautiful. I have all the threads for this. I bought all the threads, was ready to start it, just haven't started it. So when I get another finish, this might be one that I pick up and start. Have another Glendon Place. Fudgy Mint Mousse. I love all of these dessert ranges. And I've got this uses Dinky Dies, so I've got the Dinky Dies. I did a special order for the fudgy mint mousse, which just beware, it's a special, so you can't buy that. I went to Glendon Place to buy this, so I didn't go there. I went to their website and bought it. And then finally, which I've also been buying some silks for, Nantucket Girl Sampler. I'm sure you've seen this before by Plum Street Samplers. Love it. So I'm in the process of kitting this one up because I want to do it in the silks. I love it so much, and I know that I want to have it framed in the living room, so I'm going to spend the money and do this one in silks. So I've bought 5 or 6 of them so far, and what I'll do is that when I place an order, if it's below my monthly budget that I've set for that month, I'll just pop in another silk. So yeah, so that's me, surrounded by a big pile of mess. I think that's everything. I've talked about my Millennium frames, I've shown you everything current, I've shown you everything that's just sitting waiting to be stitched. Yeah, I think that is everything. So thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. I really wanted to get this done, even though the lighting's rubbish, and that's why I'm sorry you got to see me this time rather than my normal down view. I have a new light fitting in the living room, but I only had I bought the wrong bulbs for it, so I only had one bulb that fitted, and I have gone out and bought the other bulbs, but because the light's on, it's hot, so I can't replace it, so I'm going to replace the bulbs tomorrow morning. But I wanted to give myself time to actually video this, put everything away, and then the hours that it takes to push these, put them together, upload it, do all of that sort of thing. So I hope everybody who celebrated had a lovely Christmas. My Christmas tree is probably going to come down at the weekend, so I'm just going to enjoy it tonight, probably tomorrow night of New Year's Eve. Wish all of you a happy New Year's Eve and a happy New Year. I hope the new year brings... Oh, I know what I didn't show you. I'm doing all of my spiel. I've got one thing that I haven't shown you, which is very exciting. I have to lean over here, sorry. My Christmas present. Show you my Christmas present. Guess what I got? I asked for it, so I knew I was getting it. Kingdom of Books. I can't believe I forgot to tell you this. So I got the kit for this from my parents for Christmas as my Christmas present. I had to order it. I said to my mum what I wanted, and she was like, "Oh, I don't know about ordering from Russia, and oh, I don't know about that." Fine, it's fine, I'll order it. So I did it. But look, it comes with all of the beautiful threads. Like here, so you get 2 main ones, and then these are the spare ones. Or not spare, extra. It feels, I don't know what cotton it is, I don't think it says anywhere, but it feels good quality. It feels like DMC or Anchor, it doesn't feel like a cheap knockoff or anything. Massive pattern, and it comes with 14 count white Ada, but I think I went through all of my hand dyes, blah blah blah, but because this is quite a big piece, and I know others have chosen not to stitch the border, but I saw at the retreat somebody who is stitching this and is doing the border, and I really liked it. So, not the border, the background, because all of this background is stitched and all of this is here, which is why you get these extra beiges included. I would like to stitch it, and because it's likely to take me a long time, I've decided to go with a 28 count antique white even weave. Is it a Brittany? I think it's a Brittany. It's very soft, so that if need be, I can wash it if it hangs around for a while. I did contemplate, I've got the fabrics here because I poured them out, did contemplate a kind of a grey. I wasn't too sure about that, but I do like grey as a neutral, and I did think about tan. This one was too close to the colours, and I thought that would make it challenging to stitch. This one I felt was a bit too dark, but would be good if you weren't doing the background. So in the end, that's why I think I just thought, actually, just make it easy, just go with the antique white and stitch that. So yeah, Kingdom of Books. Sorry, just add that in at the end. So I was in the middle of wishing everybody a Happy New Year. So yes, Happy New Year. I hope 2017 is full of exciting, stitchy projects and challenges ahead for you. So I know that sometimes there's a lot of pressure this time of year to make resolutions and all of that sort of thing. My resolution is I just hope to carry on stitching and enjoying myself. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you next year. Bye.